I released my video about Hollow Knight on the 4th of August this year, and in that video I said this, by providing a full and comprehensive review on this masterpiece ahead of the release of its sequel. And Yahoo thought I was a madman, that I was coping, and that I was a big, fat idiot. But then, 18 days later, Team Cherry made the announcement that Silksong will be coming out on the 4th of September, and now I'm the most vindicated man alive and taking full credit for the release. In all seriousness though, Silksong is finally out, and now that it's here, it doesn't feel real. Well, I haven't been waiting as long as many others have. For a year and a half, I was tuning into every gaming event waiting for Silksong news and leaving every event like this. And now that we finally have it, I can confidently say that this more than lives up to the hype, and I would go as far to say that it exceeds it. It feels like an upgrade in every way compared to Hollow Knight, and its release will be a memory I'll always cherish. Waking up at midnight and trying my hardest to get into the game page on the Switch and being left with errors left and right. Then checking Twitter only to find out that the game crashed every single game store around the world. It really felt like I was a part of something huge and a community of people desperate to play this game, and now I know the wait was worth it. For those who don't know, Silksong was originally announced in 2019, and for 6 damn years fans have been clamoring for a release date or anything that could be slightly related to Silksong, like this cake. I won't go into any detail, but if you know, you know. The wait was so long and Team Cherry was so quiet that Silksong became one of those never coming out games like Half-Life 3 or Elder Scrolls 6. But thankfully it has, and it's broken that curse, and we are given what is, in my opinion, one of the best games I've ever played. Team Cherry had apparently taken so long in this game because they were just having so much fun tinkering and polishing the game, and you can definitely tell. Every little detail is so fascinating, and it feels like every little thing you do plays a role in the wider world of this game. This is, to put simply, one of the best games I've ever played and one of the best sequels ever, so I wanted to honor that with a review, and here it is. Obviously they're going to be spoilers, so if you want to go into this game completely blind, then watch this later. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to say thank you for all the support on my past couple videos. It's been crazy, but not a lot of you are subscribing. You see this graphic here, not a lot of you are subscribing, so I'm going to give you a couple seconds, a moment of silence for you to scroll down, click the subscribe button, notifications if you like the video if you please. Yep, there we go, just like that, yep. Okay, oh good boy. Now back to the video. So what is the story of this game? You are Hornet. In the intro cutscene, you're being taken prisoner until a being screams from beneath you, breaks the carriage, and you're free. Unlike the bug from Hollow Knight, Hornet's able to speak, so you can get more of a sense of her purpose and intentions. Your goal in Act 1 is to reach the Citadel, and in Act 2 is to reach the top to see the being who's causing the suffering of the pilgrims and the bugs who roam the land. The story of this game is riveting from start to finish, with the new quest system and characters you can talk to. The world that surrounds the story of this game feels so lived in. Every character has a story and a full life that they lived. One silly little thing I love about this game is that every character has a singing voice, you know, even the background ones that have no dialogue. It's such a fun little detail. As I mentioned before, there's the quest system in this game and a surprising amount of fetch quests. While I don't mind the fetch quests because of both the rewards and the gameplay, they can get a little bit tedious. The other quests though are an absolute delight and allow you to get a better sense of the world at large. Now, I mentioned Acts 1 and 2 but not the third. Why is that? Ahoy! Ahoy! Well, most players will finish the game in the second act because the third is quite hidden and there are a few prerequisites. I just spoke like a baby. A few prerequisites. But man, the third act is insane and the difficulty spike is even crazier. Quick spoilers obviously, but in the normal ending, you were sent to the cradle above the Citadel and fight Grandmother Silk. After defeating her, Hornet binds her power and takes her place as the Weaver Queen. Another ending you can do before Act 3 is the Twisted Child ending, which is a bit of a challenge run. After obtaining the Cursed Crest, you can fight Grandmother Silk in a weakened state where you can't heal, use Silk skills or your tools. In this ending, you ensnare both yourself and her in roots, taking her down at a tragic cost. Now the third and fourth ending is where it gets super interesting. If you've created the Soul Snare, defeat Grandmother Silk and play the needle in instead of binding, you open a portal to the Abyss in which she and Lace are both taken into. The game ends and when you try to go back into your save, it's covered in void tendrils. After you fight your way through Act 3 and its new bosses, the final boss you face is Lost Lace. After defeating her, she's weakened. Hornet asks Grandmother Silk to give her silk and she obliges. She uses Silk Sword to get both her and Lace out of the cocoon. The Everbloom flower loses power, and as the tendrils attack, Hornet encounters the Knight and other siblings of the Void who help them both while unconscious. They both wake and share a moment. Oh, and Harold also appears again in this game, and I love him, he's so cool. Overall, in my opinion, the endings in this game are far superior to those of Hollow Knight. The animations for these endings are incredible just for a regular game, let alone one developed by less than 100 people. Just an unbelievable achievement in game development, and one that I hope continues to trend in the direction of. With the gameplay, it's quite similar to Hollow Knight in that you're given a very stripped back and simple moveset, and as the game progresses you get new abilities and tools to use. There is one big change, however, that sent both me and a lot of people into a spiral, and that was the pogo. You now down strike at a 45-degree angle rather than straight down, and let me tell you, it was one of the hardest adjustments I've had to make for a game. It's a brave choice having something that was basically a core mechanic in Hollow Knight's platforming and completely change it in a way that makes you have to learn it all over again, but I really liked it. It was new and made the game feel super unique and not just a reskinned Hollow Knight. Sprinting is also a new mechanic in this game. You can now just straight up sprint after dashing rather than constantly dashing in Hollow Knight, and it can make for a really hectic encounters with enemies. And this is because of the dash strike that'll fly you into the air and give you an opportunity for a second hit. I used this a lot, especially in the true ending final boss where it felt like I could barely get a hit in, and she was so fast that the ability came in handy. In Hollow Knight you had spells, and in Silksong you now have silk skills. These are abilities that you can use in combat, which include the Silk Spear, Thread Storm, Cross Stitch, Sharp Dart, Rune Rage, and Pale Nails. Each have their own merit, but I chose to mostly use the Thread Storm. These are all really fun abilities that provide more variety and allows you to use your silk strategically. There are two mechanics in this game that both make sharp changes from the first, with those being tools and crests. Starting with tools, while Hollow Knight did have charms, they weren't as integrated into the combat as they are in Silksong. In this game, the tools have three categories, being yellow tools, which are passive and useful for exploration, blue tools, which are also passive but useful in combat, and red tools, which are gadgets used to aid in combat. I didn't use the red tools as much at first because I didn't really feel a need for them until later in the game, where I would structure the whole fights around what phase I should use each tool. The crest system in this game is incredible and allows you to really choose what style of play you prefer. If you want to play the game more traditionally, stick with the Hunter crest. If you want a more Hollow Knight feel, then the Reaper crest. Faster hits with the Wanderer crest, and so much more. The crests also affect how many tools and types of tools you're able to use. For example, the Architect crest allows for 3 red tools instead of the usual 2, and the Wanderer's crest has 3 yellow tool slots instead of the usual 2. These can also be upgraded when you have enough memory lockets. This system is so great, and it allows you to be as free as you want and play the game the way you feel is right. The platforming in this game also feels super refreshing with the new abilities like the Claw Line and Drifter's Cloak. The Claw Line ability allows you to use the needle as a harpoon, and you're able to launch yourself towards whatever it hits. This is an awesome ability and one that I loved using while platforming. It was not only useful, but it just felt good and satisfying to use. The Drifter's Cloak allows you to glide through the air with a decent amount of control. This is another one that I used a lot, and whether it was for drifting through spiky passageways or for safety down a massive hole, I found it incredibly useful. The gameplay of Silksong is, to me, by far the best thing about this game. The combat is so hectic and frantic at times, but the element of strategy is never lost with the different tools and crests you can use in different situations. Whether you're a more aggressive player or a conservative player, the game accommodates to your needs, and I really like that about it. The areas in this game are really incredible, minus the obvious too. They're just so vibrant and alive and really just beautiful. While it's a small area, the Moss Grotto is just a sight to behold. Everything from the vibrant greens to the way Hornet's footsteps interact with the floor is amazing. Also, I just love the way these birds fly as you run towards Bone Bottom. Another area I love is the Citadel. Such a huge and sprawling area with multiple sub areas connected to it. There's such a great variety of enemy types as well that make this area all the more fun to go through. Except these guys who decide they're Prime Muhammad Ali for whatever reason whenever I try and hit them. The areas connected to it are fantastic as well, with the Cogwork Core probably being my favourite. The platforming here is so challenging, but in a way that's fun and gives you the constant feeling that you get it next time. And the area prior to the Citadel is fantastic as well, the Blasted Steps. I tell you, I know this place like the back of my hand with the amount of times I had to go through here for the run back, but it was fun every goddamn time. You know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I think the reason that I like this area so much is because of how quickly I am able to sprint through it and how much fun it is. I know people hate the run back for the boss in this area, but man, once you get it down pat, you feel like a god. The last area that I love that I want to talk about is Vidania, a stunningly beautiful area that has great enemy variety and incredibly fun platforming. all the while having one of the best story moments in the game. And the boss of the area is fantastic as well. All three of these areas actually have some incredible bosses that I'll probably go into more detail on later. Now for the areas that I wasn't a fan of, Biowater. Ugh, I just got a shiver down my spine just saying that. It's like saying Voldemort. The area that shall not be named is a hellscape with water that if you fall in won't let you heal, incredibly annoying enemies and one of the hardest bosses in the game. And not only is he a hard boss, but the runback is generally one of the worst of any game ever. And while that was most people's least favorite area, the one that takes the cake for me would have to be the putrefied ducks. This is the real star of the show. Flying enemies that have no real predictable patterns, the same water, the well-hidden enemies that'll suck you up, and of course, the fact that it's the only way to reach Fleetopia. I just want to see my little guys, man. Why do you have to go through Dante's Inferno just to reach it? I don't know, man. These areas just sucked the fun out of this game for me whenever I had to go there. Also, Wormways is quite possibly the most useless and frustrating area from both games. There's really nothing of note here unless you want to 100% the game, but then it's just a pain in the ass. Enough of the negativity though, as I've said before, the platforming in this game is absolutely spectacular and it's integrated into this game so much better than it is in Hollow Knight. While Hollow Knight only really had one full area that was optional for platforming, Silksong had two. One being optional, one being main story, you have to get this, and there are two more under pressure platforming challenges. The two areas that I'm talking about are Mount Fae and the Border Caves. To start with the story one, Mount Fae is an area past the slab that if you don't reach warmth, you'll lose health after a certain period of time. This makes already challenging platforming even harder, and I'm not gonna lie, a controller may have been thrown once or twice. You have to be so precise a lot of the time, and you also have to take note of if you have Silk because you're gonna fall a long way without it for the claw line. The Border Caves, however, is where the real challenge is. It utilizes every single ability you have in your arsenal and it is awesome. Because not only is it extremely challenging and punishing, it's also just so much fun. No matter how frustrated I got, the gameplay itself was enough to me to keep coming back. And don't even get me started on these pressure challenges because they both gave me heart attacks and the adrenaline rush after finishing that was unreal. Overall, the areas in this game are amazing. There are a few as well that I haven't mentioned, like Deep Docks, the Slab and Greymore, but this video would be way too long. While there are certainly a couple of duds, it really does have a great set of areas. One of my main complaints about Hollow Knight was that there wasn't enough enemy variety, but that is rectified and then some in this game. It feels like every area had their own unique set of enemies that had unique movesets and characteristics, so every area felt fresh. My favourite set of enemies would have to be in the Hunter's March. This area in itself is such a huge difficulty spike with the platforming involved, but that along with these enemies makes it all the more challenging. I might be sadistic, but I loved it. The amount of pain I went through running back to this gauntlet was unimaginable, but it was so worth it, man. Every enemy felt smart and so intimidating that I would always second guess fighting them, especially these guys. It genuinely felt like I was playing against another player, just so good. I will say though, some enemies in this game are straight bullshit, like these fucking crows who bounce around and throw their knives. I hate you, I hate you, I fucking hate you. Perhaps I treated you too harshly. One thing I found weird about this game is just how tanky a lot of the enemies are. Like, it doesn't feel like I should be taking more than 2 hits to kill these guys, but that's just a nitpick. Now I know in my Hollow Knight video I said that it has the best selection of bosses in any game ever, but Silksong might just top it. I think that in Hollow Knight the best bosses came from the DLCs, but Silksong's base game bosses absolutely mogged Hollow Knight's. The amount of bosses that I came out thinking, yeah, that might be the best one, is insane. One of my favorites is an early game boss, the 4th chorus. While the fight itself isn't that hard, the spectacle alone is absolutely incredible. And another boss whose spectacle is amazing is the Cogwork Dancers. There are very few bosses who manage to tell a story as good as this within the fight itself. Getting to that final phase is so heartbreaking. It reminded me of Sif from Dark Souls. It's just so sad. And the actual fight is so much fun and the music is incredible. There are just so many amazing bosses in this game, it's hard not to talk about them all, so I'm just going to rapid fire through a few. Widow is an incredibly fun Act 2 boss that is a huge difficulty spike and makes you have to focus on every inch of the area to beat her. Both versions of Trobio are incredibly fun and the spectacle in both is amazing. Carmelita is one of the hardest bosses in the game, but it's just so fun and the music is absolutely incredible. And Clawfather is another fun story fight that, similar to Carmelita, uses the area enemies in a fun way. My favourite boss of them all, however, has to be Lost Lace. It's just such an exhilarating experience from start to finish. All 3 phases are incredible spectacles, and the combat is so quick that you hardly have time to think. I found myself struggling a lot with this one, and I think I died around 30 times trying to beat her. But man, all the pain was worth it. One of my favorite things about the fight was figuring out when to do or use certain abilities. I decided that I would only use my tools when she gets to a 3rd phase to save shards, and use Threadstorm only when I'm confident with the amount of health I have. She does get a bit annoying though, especially when she appears exactly where you're dashing, but other than that, it's an unbelievably fun fight. Now of course, they can't all be perfect. I don't think there are any bad bosses in this game, just a couple of boring ones. Bosses like Moss Mother and Plasmified Zango come to mind. And there's the thing, Moss Mother is the first boss in this game, one to ease you in. Zango is underwhelming. I don't know what I was expecting coming into it, but with the story behind it, I was expecting more than what we got. And no, Growl the Great isn't a bad boss, it's just the runback that fucking sucks. The bosses in this game are unbelievable. Something I love about them is that while they were mostly all hard, you're able to learn the patterns to the point where when you eventually beat it, you feel like you've mastered it. To have a collection of bosses like this in just the base game is crazy, and I really hope we get some more in the DLCs to come. Silksong is a more than worthy sequel to what is one of the greatest games of all time. The release of this game is a memory that will always stick with me, and one of the best and craziest release days ever. I remember my parents watching the news and they were talking about this. It was crazy. Playing this game was an experience that I'll forever cherish. The feeling I got seeing the title screen and moving around exploring the world of Farloom is a feeling I'll forever treasure. Thank you Team Cherry for creating another incredible world to get lost in. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry that this took so long to come out and that I haven't uploaded in a while. My PC conked out and I had to get a new one, and that took ages, so I've got that now. I've got a lot of videos planned to come out soon, hopefully. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, follow my socials in the description, and see ya.